What's up? It's Ian the Fit Medic, and today we are doing a full day of eating while on prep. Cue the intro. So my first meal of the day is super simple. It's just protein oats. It's about 70 grams of oats and then 2 scoops of protein. Gives me about 50 grams of carbs, 50 grams of protein. I make it this way because it's super easy to make in the morning, and I don't like getting up and having to cook a bunch of stuff before having my first meal. Just want to get that meal in. So let's go ahead and make this meal. Super simple. In all honesty, I eyeball the water when I make it too, just to get for consistency. I also add creatine. That's how I get my creatine. I'm using Ghost's whey protein. You can use any protein though, it doesn't really matter. As long as it mixes well. Keep it simple, keep it easy. And for meal number 2, which will be the meal before I lift, I'm gonna have one of my favorite meals, which is a egg bagel sandwich. A lot of people villainize bagels as a dirty food, but at the end of the day, it's a carb source and actually has a decent amount of protein for being a primary carb source. It's about 45-50 grams of carbs and then somewhere around 10 grams of protein, depending on who makes the bagels. I use just egg whites for my egg source. I don't use whole eggs, at least not right now in prep, just to eliminate the fats. And it's a little bit easier to stay consistent with the amount of macros I get if I'm using the same egg whites every time. I use 6 ounces, which ends up being around, I think, 18 to 20 grams of protein. It's already been calculated out. I know it fits right. Some people measure that with a scale, a weight scale. I think is more accurate than going and eyeballing 6 ounces here off of a cup. And then I go to my local bagel spot in the area, which makes them all fresh. So I always get a ton of these. Toast it up in the oven, super complicated. The other major trick that I do with my eggs to make them taste better, these egg whites are pretty flavorless. Besides adding just salt, I like to add everything on a bagel. You can get this at like Trader Joe's. I think I got this at Taters. Everyone has kind of a variation of that, but even more so is these kernels seasons. And what they are they're meant for popcorn, a seasoning for popcorn when you make your popcorn from scratch, but they're great on everything. And I season so much stuff in prep with this. I got this prep hack actually from Kevin Nguyen, who's a IFBB physique, and I think he's moving to classic physique pro now, but this is his prep hack. It's a lifesaver. I have like a 15 pack of different flavors. So I just heat this up and half cook the eggs, and then put the seasoning in, and then cover the top, and then finish my cook from there. All right, now for meal number 3, I'm gonna be having something really simple. I like to keep stuff simple during prep, just for sake of my brain not having to do all the calculations and plugging everything in meticulously all the time. I like to keep my proteins coming from one source, or my foods giving one macro mainly at a time. So for my third meal, I'm gonna be having 7 ounces of this really gross looking ground turkey. It's literally just a ground turkey meatloaf, 93.7. The reason I cook it in a meatloaf form is it's just easy. The easiest way to put 4 pounds of turkey together, cook it in bulk, and prep for a few days. And then I'll be doing 7 ounces of this and 5 ounces of potatoes. These are just literally, I get a bag of potatoes from Teeter that you can throw in the microwave and cook it up. I've also baked those as well. I find it so much simpler just to throw in the microwave for 8 minutes, then cut it all up and put it in my air fryer and bake over an hour, or however long it takes. So this comes out to be about 40 grams of protein, 25 grams of carbs, and the fats are like, I think about 15-ish, maybe 20. I'll put it up on screen, probably right about now. I also usually have a vegetable with this as well. I'm all out and I'm cooking some later, but so this one I'll have no vegetable for. The entirety of prep I've been doing Brussels sprouts. I buy them at Harris Teeter, once again, pre-cut, so I don't have to worry. It's less prep time, a little bit more expensive, but it's worth the sanity in not cutting up all my food and spending so much time prepping. It's little hacks like that that really add up. Even if it's more expensive, it really is, to me, worth the money to have it pre-prepped, and I just throw it in and cook it real quick. Throw it in my air fryer. I'll have another video on how I actually prep all my food, because I have it down to a science, as you could imagine. And the reason I add a vegetable in is for a couple of reasons. A, it's healthy, gets you your phytonutrients. On top of that as well, it's a filler, a low caloric filler. So you feel hungry via a few methodologies in your body, one of which being you have caloric sensors in your stomach, and they sense how much calories you're breaking down, right, at the caloric values of what you're eating. But you also have baroreceptors, or pressure receptors, stretch receptors in your stomach as well. So if you can fill your stomach up, it's not just about caloric value, but it's also how the fill of your stomach. And that's why people will, like, a lot of times throw vegetables a lot into prep, just because they're not taking in a lot of calories, so they try to fill it with a vegetable. As far as my vegetable, I just throw, I usually eyeball it. It's not calorically dense. I'm not going to stress myself by measuring it every time, but I do like about a handful of Brussels sprouts. I'm trying something new, and we'll see how it goes. I just bought them. So here's what I bought. They're just zucchini spiral noodles. They're pre-cut. Once again, there is nothing added into these, so I can go ahead and I'll season them. Maybe add a little bit of olive oil. I have to look how you actually really cook these well. I'll probably throw them in my air fryer, and I have a tumbler in the air fryer that will turn them as it cooks. I imagine they'll cook pretty quick. It's mostly water, so I don't want to overcook them. So I still have that water fill, if you will. All right, let's go ahead and measure out this meal. Now for meal number 4. Previously in prep, I would have the same meal for number 3 and number 4, the turkey and the potatoes. What I found was I was going through a lot of turkey, about a pound a day, and I was just having trouble prepping enough to make it through about 4 days, which is the span of time I'll need to make it through meal-wise for my work week. It's a lot of times I'll work 4 shifts in a row, and I would just run out of a turkey, a protein source. So in lieu of that, I just started making egg whites, substituting egg whites for the turkey. It's 13 ounces of egg whites, which gives me the same amount of protein as 7 ounces of turkey, with being about 40 grams. And where I'd miss out is there would be no fat, natural fat that goes along with egg whites. So in lieu of that, I would just use the buffalo ranch that I used in meal number 2, the egg sandwich. It's pretty similar. The only thing is, instead of a bagel having potatoes, I went ahead and made the zoodles, the zucchini noodles, as a filler, as a vegetable source with phytonutrients, and then the whole meal comes together to be about the same macros. Actually, comes to be the same exact macros as the turkey meal. Super simple, easy to prep, just a lot of egg whites, but it's so much easier cooking egg whites than it is turkey. All right, so let's go ahead and cook it up. And there you have it. That was a full day of eating while on prep. My macronutrient intake for the day was 170 protein, 152 carbs, and 44 fats. And that brought me out to 1,732 calories. Thanks for watching, and see you on the next one.